Before we get into this week's podcast, I got to tell you about the people that make this show possible. Like Johnstone Supply in Troy, helping people across upstate New York for decades now. They can help you find that AC unit you're looking for to stay cool all summer long. The spot for you is Johnstone Supply in Troy. You stop in, you say hello to their great staff, and they will help you find an AC unit that you're looking for to stay cool all summer long. Whatever it might be, whether it's maintenance to the one that you have, whether it's just an upgrade that you want, competitive prices, you can find it right there, 6th Avenue in Troy, with our friends over at Johnstone Supply in Troy. Give them a call today, 518-272-5922, 518-272-5922. That is the number to get a hold of our friends over at Johnstone Supply in Troy. We've been working with them from Godzilla Media's launch till now. We want to hope that you could support them this summer. More time for that number, 518-272-5922. Stop in 6th Avenue. Grab some tools as well. Always competitive prices for those summer projects. And check them out on social media, Johnstone Supply NY. You head on to Facebook, you search that. You're going to find all the updates that you need so you can stay up to date with our friends at Johnstone Supply in Troy. One more time, 6th Avenue. And on Facebook, Johnstone Supply NY. Find that AC unit and more that you're looking for this summer at Johnstone Supply in Troy. And our friend Jared Lozier over at Northeastern Insurance. If you're looking to save cash for the things that are important to you this year, maybe it's that car, that home, that small business, that policy you've been paying for, Northeastern Insurance can help you save cash. They have that competitive rate. It takes one call, one email, simple and easy as that. Give Jared Lozier a call today, 518-956-3753. 518-956-3753. That is the number for Jared Lozier. Or you can email him, jaredl@nemail.com. jaredl@nemail.com. That is the number that Jared Lozier, you can text, you can call, and you can get a free quote today. Simple and easy. One text, one call, and Jared Lozier is helping you save cash this summer so you can spend on the things that are important to you. That summer vacation, maybe that big golf trip, the bachelor party, and more. Jared Lozier is your guy. Northeastern Insurance, we love supporting a great guy like him. He can help you out for anything you need. I got a text today, actually a couple days ago, about somebody's car and what had gone down. Jared, first person I recommended. One more time, 518-956-3753. His name is Jared Lozier from Northeastern Insurance. All right, let's get into this week's edition of Guys on the Go. Let's lead off with the Subway Series. How about the Yankees and Mets putting on some fireworks, a postseason feel out at Citi Field? Look, there have been moments in this Major League Baseball season you get excited for. Opening day, division rivalries, great pitching matchups. Is it the New York biased? Is it that it's just the Subway Series and more New York eyes are on these games? Social media is more of a buzz. The national spotlight of ESPN and TBS on a another week in July. Oh, it was so much fun. From Starling Marte with the walk-off victory most recently last night, Aaron Judge hitting a home run, Max Scherzer going 7 strong innings. That's exactly what you want, like your stars to be the stars in the game. Close game, crowd super into it, walk-off wins, and a chance to come back and battle against each other later on this summer. Look, this goes back to September. If you missed it, the back and forth between Francisco Lindor and Giancarlo Stanton, both of them pimping their home runs, and bench is clear, but no punches are thrown. And now we get this type of game back to back. The only thing, a regret of this, can we make it a 3-game series? How about a 4-game series? I know it's interleague. I know it's just kind of jammed up a bit in there in between, but I wanted more. The best compliment you can give a sporting event, that when it's all said and done, you're like, I kind of want more. I'm cool if this is the World Series. Let's make it happen. So Mets and Yankees lived up to the hype for the Subway Series, and we can lead off this podcast talking about it because it was that good. Now, what does it mean for the rest of the season for both franchises? The New York Yankees are still sitting atop the AL East. The Braves are going to battle with the Mets for that division title in the NL East, the reigning defending World Series champions. And they might get back there again. But let's enjoy for what it was. A competitive playoff feel baseball game where the stars of the team showed up. Jeff McNeil contributed. He's an all-star. Francisco Lindor drove in a run. He's one of the highest paid Mets. I already mentioned Scherzer. The Yankees out of it, Anthony Rizzo goes deep. Joey Gallo. Goodness gracious, Joey Gallo. I've watched and listened and heard. Listened and heard is the same thing. A lot of Yankee fans complain about certain players over the past 7 years moving out here to the capital region. Gary Sanchez, Stanton, some of the names you've complained about. Joey Gallo's on another level. He is getting roasted by New York sports. John Jastrzemski, who was on last week's episode of Getting There with Gaz, I saw him go to social media and call him the worst Yankee acquisition ever. Ever. Worse than Jacoby Ellsbury. And now the news breaking that Andrew Benintendi, don't worry, I'm pretty proud that I nailed that on the first shot. The Kansas City Royals stay now on my fantasy team. He's coming to the New York Yankees to add anything, speed, power, hits, anything that Joey Gallo's not adding right now. Rumor out there from Jeff Passan that there's a offer on the table for Juan Soto that's better than any other team. The Yankees are going to make their push. The Mets have already made their push. We're watching great baseball, and hopefully you got to enjoy it because that's about as good as it's going to get until August when they rematch, or maybe until October when they play in the World Series. My pal Levack had a quote this week that he shared with Coach Tom Menas, the head football coach for the Albany Empire. My dad used to love this quote involving football players. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. That's what we have coming up inside the Capital Region's MVP Arena for the semifinal matchup between the Jacksonville Sharks and the top-seeded Albany Empire. That's right, the top-seeded Albany Empire. It's been a strange, bizarre summer. Year 2 of the Empire, the NAL, the National Arena League. Fans who are diehard Empire fans going out supporting the team. Other fans being a bit more cautious about supporting the team, which is frustrating because they're continuing to win. But now the playoffs have come. Now, if you've waited all summer long, you can go out and support this team in person and watch them go potentially for another championship. And we're in store for an awesome game. That storyline at quarterback, if you haven't followed it, Sam Castronova, who should be at least the offensive player of the year, if not the MVP, his teammate Darius Prince could lay claim to that too. But Jacksonville's quarterback is Mike Faithful, who, if you remember, started the season as the Albany Empire quarterback, then was traded to Jacksonville. Now's the backup in Jacksonville, Arvell Nelson, who defeated the Albany Empire in their inaugural season in 2018 as a quarterback for the Washington Valor, is leading the Jacksonville Sharks. So changes at the quarterback position. Players who have played against and for the Empire could potentially ruin the Empire's chance for a championship. Those are just some of the things that we can get ready for this Saturday night inside the arena. Now, indoor football fans, this is your opportunity to, on a Saturday, then if you can make it out to MVP Arena, flip on the YouTube broadcast because you're listening to us in Utica, Syracuse, Rochester, Geneva. This might be the first time in a long time you've watched an indoor football game and seen some of the talent on the field and say, like, you know what? This is fun. This is touchdown after touchdown. Who's actually going to win this? The last 2 home games has been possession for possession, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. How does it play out at the end, especially with a playoff feel on the way and 1 week away from a championship for either one of these teams competing for one in the big game? The NAL has proven now put the 4 best teams in the league in the playoffs after a long regular season, and here's the opportunity for the Albany Empire to get another chance to play for a championship. It can happen. 2019, AFL champions. 2020, COVID. 2021, NAL champions. And here you go for another opportunity to do it. Whether it's the quarterback, Sam Castronova, Darius Prince, Dwayne Hollis, who continues to stand out, or other playmakers on that defense, Albany Empire fans will have a chance to root on their team. And Albany, the capital region, can lay claim to being the best, flat-out, indoor football town in the United States of America. Now, I know my friends from Orlando will start throwing stuff at me. The Iowa fans will start going crazy. But we're talking about a national stage. When people think about indoor football, what do you think about? The teams of the past, of course, of the AFL, the Albany Firebirds, a championship squad for sure. Their banner hangs up high above the rafters in the MVP Arena, along with the Empire banners. But why not Albany? Coach Menas talked about how big the numbers are in Orlando, but if you continue to win year in and year out, whether the numbers 5, 8, 10, 12, you're creating a championship culture. As Coach Menas one more time said in the broadcast, the Empire way isn't just a cliche, it's a truth, it's a statement. All those things can happen on Saturday. Looking forward to the Empire. Tickets, Albany Empire, NAL.com. Watch the game on YouTube and get ready for that playoff championship feel. Slow down the quarterback, play well in the second half. Those are the big things that Albany can do to punch another ticket to play for an indoor football championship. Thoughts stumbled upon my mind, realizing that NFL training camps had opened this week and watching some highlights of teams just jogging around, running plays. It's kind of boring until you get later on, you get the one-on-one competitions and some preseason games, and you get, we used to call it the old bell drill at Hobart, those one-on-one D-line, O-line drills. More competitive in college. The college training camps are more fun because guys are battling truly for those spots, while in professional football, contracts and agents and other things play a factor. But it got me to wonder, who is the NFL team that I'm most interested in following in training camp? Where's the best storylines? Visual audience on YouTube, spoiler alert, you see the graphic already, so you already know the answer. But for our audio side, the answer is the New York Jets. 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 Now, hang on. Before you zoom through the Jets and wonder why your favorite team's not getting love, you can always share your opinions with me at Tom Goz on Twitter, TOMGOZZ. We can give your football team some love. We got the preseason NFL show coming up next month. We've been killing it for our predictions the past 2 years. But I focus on the Jets because you've got second-year head coach Robert Saleh, second-year quarterback, you got that dog in him, Zach Wilson. You've got 3 first-round draft picks making their debut, all expected to be impactful first-round draft picks. You go back and look at that Jets draft in 2022. It's a fantastic talent-wise draft. Can that talent produce? Remains to be seen. You've got the big fella, Mekhi Becton, who showed up slim and so much in shape that reports are they already swung him over to right tackle that fast. Like, got on the scale, you're changing your position. Okay, I guess. So you've got your franchise future offensive tackle, head coach, quarterback, 3 first-round draft picks, a competitive AFC East with the Bills and the Patriots and the Dolphins. It's interesting. It's fascinating. Who's the quarterback? Zach Wilson. Who's the running back? Is it Breece Hall? Is it Michael Carter? Wide receiver. Who's the one who's going to make the most plays on the outside for Zach Wilson? Is Big CJ from the Bengals going to be the best tight end the Jets have had in, 25, 30 years? I'm fascinated by that team. I know the Detroit Lions get hard knocks. Shout out to our guy, Paul Camarata. Looking forward to hopefully having a conversation with him on the CBS 6 Sports platform, probably in the next 2 weeks, about what's in store for that big show. But you think about the Jets. They're the most intriguing team. So many things can happen. So many storylines. Carolina's probably in the mix because who's going to be the starting quarterback, Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield? But that's just one storyline. Is it Jerry Jones in Dallas? You could do that every single year. Is it New England that Belichick's refusing to name coordinators? We'll see how that goes later on. Belichick's just not naming coordinators. Okay. No, it's the Jets. There's teams that might finish with a better win-loss than the Jets. There might be teams that have a fight break out in practice come August. But the full development, the full coming together of a team and wondering what's happening is the Jets 1, maybe Baltimore 2, just because of Lamar Jackson and how his non-agent will figure out a contract. But the New York Jets, watch the Flight series on social media. It's awesome. That's the team. It's not Rex Ryan, let's go get a snack. It's pretty close to being the keep our eye on this team throughout the next 5 to 6 weeks. My goal is from now until college football kicks off in about 4 weeks. Oh, that feels so good to say out loud. My goal is to have at least one college football storyline every week in Goz on the Go, whether it's a top 25 poll, whether it's talk of who's going to be potentially the best players in the country, All-Americans, who to wager on. Some college football storyline, I hope, will make it in here, even if it's regional stuff involving the New York teams, which could likely be next week. But let's talk about the Notre Dame football team. Whether you love Notre Dame, you hate Notre Dame, you got to give love for what they just did on social media. That parody video involving Notre Dame alumni Mike Golick Sr. and Mike Golick Jr., Marcus Freeman, the All-American tight end, also in that video. Coach Freeman, of course, the coach. And others contributing to talk about the upcoming game against the UNLV running Rebels on the football field at Allegiant. Thank you. Allegiant. Who did I just thank, by the way? Allegiant Stadium for that matchup coming up. So it's cool. It's marketability. It's players laughing, having fun. I immediately texted a bunch of people. Shout out to our guy, DJ Gridley, one of the biggest Notre Dame fans I know. Said, look at this video. Like, how do you not want to play for Marcus Freeman? A coach that the players love, who feels like he's not an old school guy who doesn't know what's going on, that he can relate with you, can talk to you, can be upfront with you. Football's a tough sport. People forget about football, especially the college level, where how many guys play? 53? 22 on offense, 22 defense. Get some wide receivers to mix it in and running backs, maybe 60. You usually got about 80 to 85 guys on the roster on full scholarship. And remember, those backups think they should be playing more. A lot of guys think they should be playing more. Almost half the roster doesn't always like the head coach because they feel like they should be on the field. No other sport is quite like that. Football is. But the Notre Dame football team overall, if you evaluate how good the Fighting Irish could be this season, I know they've got the huge game with Ohio State coming up early in the season, September 3rd. What if they beat Ohio State? What if Notre Dame can go on and beat the Buckeyes? The Buckeyes, two really good wide receivers. C.J. Stroud, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Ryan Day. I don't want to call him underrated, but boy, I'm going to keep eating the crow on not thinking Day could follow in the footsteps of Urban Meyer. But if you look at a top 25 poll, I'll just give you a little preview of what my top 5 would look like. Georgia's the reigning defending national champions. They should be 1 until somebody knocks them off. I'd put Alabama at 2 because Alabama's been there and done that before. So Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Ohio State would be 3 for how good the Buckeyes were this past season. They lost, of course, their rival Michigan, who I would put at 4. Michigan gets to the college football playoff last season. They can't get the job done. And right there at 5 would be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame has had a few appearances in the college football playoff. Notre Dame just needs a quarterback away and they can make moves. I know they didn't cover in the Fiesta Bowl. God, that's one of my worst beats, that Oklahoma State Fiesta Bowl. But you've got the coaching staff, you've got the recruits, you're a few players away, and you've got an opportunity early in the season to beat Ohio State and lay claim and say, you know what? We're the best team in the country. You reset after that. Let's go play Bama. Let's go play Georgia. We've been waiting years to get a rematch in the SEC teams. People thought we're not on the same level. We'll have Coach Freeman tell us we're on that level. Let's go find it. Let's go do it. There's so many years where Notre Dame's called overrated and you can't find out how good they're going to be. And it's too tough as that. It doesn't feel like that same type of criticism sits around Notre Dame anymore. Brian Kelly, Paul Feinbaum, they trot him out and say, it's time to fire Brian Kelly. Well, he's in LSU making a ton of money now. The feel around Notre Dame football is like nothing I've ever heard, seen before in my life. I'm rooting for Notre Dame this year. I can't wait to watch this team play, and not just the offensive defense, the pregame stuff. How do they react? How do they come out of the tunnel? What do you see on a Thursday and Friday? Remember the trick shot Monday from Mike Golick Jr. that became a viral sensation because it wasn't just these stuck-up kids wearing suits to games. It was real college athletes having fun. Notre Dame football, you're going to have an opportunity early in the season. My guy Derek Brown's probably fired up about this segment. But something different about Notre Dame. If it's as soon as 2022, maybe. The next couple of years, maybe, just maybe, the Fighting Irish can win another national championship. It's the Michael Scott meme from The Office. Explain this to me like I'm a baby. Explain this to me like I'm a baby involving the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant, potential Boston landing spot. Now, I'm not going to go all full conspiracy mode like the Boston fans did on local radio saying that Shams and Woj made it up just to get clicks in July. And even the Boston radio host had to grab on and say, guys, you calling into the show, tweeting into the show, getting your opinion, you're being irrational. Not us. Not us because everybody sucked and we made, you know what, we won't even dive into Kirk Menahan and everybody. Look, Boston Sports Talk Radio has not always been the most sensible thing, but even they had to take a step back and say this seems to have some type of valid reason as to why 2 of the top NBA reporters in the world are saying Durant might be on the move to the Boston Garden. And now I say that out loud, and I think the same thing I thought about when I first heard the story. It's like, what? Why is this a thing? Someone smart explain it to me like a baby, because to me it makes zero sense why it's Boston as the landing spot. So Jaylen Brown was in the discussion that he might be in the move with the package to get Durant. Jaylen Brown's really good. I know Jaylen Brown's contract situation is going to be interesting is the word I'll use there, because do they want to really pay for both Brown and Tatum? Okay, they might have to pull some money out. Does Brown just go to another team? And maybe there was talks behind the scene that was a possibility. Brown immediately went to social media and said SMA, and shaking my head that he was even mentioned in these reports he might get dealt. But Brown and Tatum got the Celtics to the NBA Finals last season. They're a few wins away from doing this thing, winning the championship. My guy Levack said this. He goes, okay, guys, this might be the peak with Brown and Tatum and Horford and the new head coach and everyone. This might be, this past season, the best the Celtics ever are. If you want the Celtics to get better, you got to go make a move and get Kevin Durant. And I thought of that. Okay, maybe Levack's right on this one. Maybe Levack looks at Durant, looks at his career and says, this is a guy you need to win a championship because Golden State did it a few years ago. He can put you over the top. Kevin Durant's in year 15 of his NBA career. Now, I know he got hurt with the Achilles. You can mark it down to 14 at playoff games. I think we're even. But since 2007, this guy has been in the league. And his most recent stop was in Brooklyn, where it was supposed to be Durant and Kyrie taking over the Nets franchise, changing everything. And by the end of it, he wanted to be traded for God knows what reason. Kyrie was already in Boston. You already thought that you could get a playmaker to make this thing work, and they got better without him. They did. So why does Boston want to do that again? It doesn't make sense. If you want a player like Durant or like Kyrie, then go get Durant or Kyrie and understand what comes with them. But have NBA teams just given up on even trying to build their own stars? Because Boston, of any team, of any franchise, has done it. They're not on Durant and Kyrie's level yet. They haven't won an NBA championship. But these guys are coming for that title as some of the best in the game. And you're going to deal them away to get older, to hope, to listen to complaints and everything. It's not worth it. Roll with the guys you got. And that should be this message for all these NBA teams. Eventually, what you're buying might not be what production-wise it was years ago. This younger generation doesn't complain as much. Even Zion, who's been sitting out a bunch. I forget what his voice sounds like sometimes over the past 3 years because other people talk for him. But Boston, do not make that move for Kevin Durant. No. Before we preview the big fight weekend, including UFC 277 and SummerSlam, we got to tell about the people that make this show possible. We hope that you can go out and support these great businesses. The more you support them, the better content, the better things you get for the future for guys in the media. So please go out and support these great businesses. Like Mohawk Honda, if you're looking to trade in your vehicle this summer, the spot for you to do it is Glenville, New York. It's a wild time right now with the supply chain where you could be trading in your vehicle and getting back the same price that you originally bought for it years ago. That's right, Mohawk Honda can do that for you right now. You stop and you say hello to the great staff, and they can take care of you. I know from experience, the pilot sitting in the driveway, I got to have the summer road trips and more with Mohawk Honda. Now you can have that same bragging right. This is the time to do it. I don't want you to stall. I don't want you to wait. Well, maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. How hard is it just stop into Mohawk Honda, make the drive wherever you live across upstate New York and find out the price you can get for your vehicle? You don't want to think back months from now and years from now, if I had just done it in the summer of 2022, I would be in a different spot right now. Don't have those regrets. Make the move. Check them out on social media. Nick and Nate always doing a great job about the new vehicles that are in line. You get yourself into a 2023 ride just by stopping into Mohawk Honda and having money in your pocket. Mohawk Honda, Glenville, New York. We love the people. We love the maintenance, the sales, everybody over there. Now you can have that same bragging right for yourself. Mohawk Honda, where they always go out of their way to please you. And our friends over at Lily and David Fine Jewelers, located at the shops of Wilton, Route 50. I cannot believe this day marks the 5th anniversary of when I proposed to my wife. Social media, always a nice reminder of when those great moments in your life happen. I remember it. Where did I stop in? Lily and David Fine Jewelers, sweating, nervous, not quite sure exactly what I was going to do, what I was going to buy, what fit my budget. I had a little bit of an idea of that. But the staff there at Lily and David Fine Jewelers walked me through that process of exactly what she's looking for, how to do the proposal, and I'd make sure those 2-for-1 wedding band sales are going to be coming in the future, and make sure she's getting compliments on that ring you're about to buy. Guys, That ring is always there. That moment is always there. Make sure you get it right. The proposal, like I know from experience, may not go exactly as planned, but you can always get it right with the ring. The family owned and operated a business. Alyssa, David, and the crew will help you find exactly what she is looking for. Route 50, the Shops of Wilton, is the spot for you. The selection is fantastic. They'll definitely have what you're looking for, and they'll help you find what fits your budget and to make those memories for years to come. Alyssa, David, the whole crew, shout out to them. Love working with them. It's Lily and David Fine Jewelers. Route 50, the Shops of Wilton. Stop in. When you get in there, tell me you heard about Gaz's story from right here on Gaz on the Go. All right, let's talk about the big fight weekend. Let's start off with UFC 277. This is the night. Amanda Nunes versus Juliana Pena. This is what the UFC has needed for so long. So it's been cool to watch fighters dominate because whether it's John Jones, whether it's Ronda Rousey in her prime, people wanted to see greatness. And then there's nothing wrong with that. It's pretty cool. But what happened post Ronda is that Amanda Nunes took over, was great. But what was the storyline? What kept her in the conversation? Why did people care night in and night out why they needed to see Amanda Nunes? And she is the greatest female fighter of all time. But the best thing that may have happened to Amanda Nunes is that she got beat. And now we got the rematch. And now it's being billed by ESPN as the 2-title rematch. Juliana Pena, the Venezuelan Vixen. It has been a long time coming for Juliana Pena. If you go way back, and I know this because I watched the series, the Ultimate Fighter has brought out so many great fighters for the future for the UFC. The only Ultimate Fighter that I watched start to finish was the first ever female version of the Ultimate Fighter. Go back and watch it. Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate are the coaches, but the names involved in that season are incredible. From Shayna Baszler, now of WWE fame, to Juliana Pena, to Raquel Pennington, Torres. Like, we could go through the names of all these people who really became the true great fighters in the history of the UFC women's division, all of the same season of the Ultimate Fighter. I bring that up because the potential of what we could see. Nunes and Pena slugging it out, going back and forth, and maybe, just maybe, putting on the greatest female fight of all time between the top two fighters. And back to Pena quickly, tore up her knee. She was supposed to be the great fighter from that division, from that class. Got hurt, couldn't get healthy, had to work her way all the way back. She did. She becomes a champion. What a fantastic story. Now, I would take Nunes just because she's been better throughout her career, and I know she got beat, but it's hard to ever pick against her. I would want to look at that line, by the way. I know the minute I look at it, it's a rare time where I don't look at a fight line because I know I'm going to wager on that. We'll get back to that in a second, but Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, all many fans know about him. He was in that fight right there in, well, we won't call it the MVP Arena. It wasn't even called that at that point, right? It was called the Times Union Center. He's in action. Hopefully he can win that fight because he's always entertained. You don't want his career to end too soon because it's been a long time, 5-6 years ago, and Lewis is having some trouble going deeper into fights. But those are the two names to look out for. That main event, Pena versus Nunes, Derek Lewis. Would I order this fight? No. Are the prelims on ABC? Yes. But taking this fight, give me Nunes. Give me the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, -270. It's a perfect line. Yeah, there you go. There's some wagers for you for UFC 277 in Texas. The next potential great rivalry, Pena versus Nunes. And the biggest event of the summer, Summerslam, is here this Saturday night. Nashville Stadium Show coming up. So Las Vegas was supposed to be a stadium show. There was also International Fight Week, so Money in the Bank didn't happen that way. But this is a stadium show in Nashville. SummerSlam, traditionally always in August, but moved up to this weekend. A little mixed because of the Nashville situation and the Clash of Champions is what they're calling the show out in the UK. Whatever they're calling the UK show, that's the first September weekend. And it's always weird at the clock and when it starts, but that's why there's a little separation here between the shows. Okay, so let's get into the previews. If you want a full, I'm talking 90-minute preview, match by match, storylines, and everything else, head over to the Travis Rigney Show right here on Godzilla Media. If you need a link, head over to GodzillaMedia.com. We're going to share it on social media. Check those guys out. White Heat. Brian Katie has been all over the place. Pugsley's hit. Brian Katie has been doing the absolute car wash for SummerSlam this week. So Brian Katie's got a bunch of stuff on SummerSlam. I'll just go through some of my things that stand out to me. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Bellaire. How is this thing going to end? A true year-long rivalry. You've got either the right now or the past, however you view Becky Lynch, versus no doubt the future. And when you think about the future of Bianca Bellaire, she's won at WrestleMania twice. So it's not like she's working her way up to be the future. She's maybe the present. And that's why it's fun to talk this one out. You know Becky's got the Elton John thing going on, big-time Bex. Bianca Belaire's got her charisma, as it was described as, but maybe not as great on the mic. Physically a beast. I can't wait to watch that match. I think Becky Lynch is going to win because I don't know what's going to happen for the future of those two. But maybe, just maybe, the future of Bianca Bellaire coincides with the future of her real-life husband, Montez Ford. They've been teasing this a little bit, the WWE, of could the Street Profits finally break up? And by finally, I mean Montez Ford is ready. Go watch this guy. He is the future of the WWE. I've called him what the most recent podcast we talked about this. The Rock. A future Rock. Here's the moment. Break up. Make him the good guy. Maybe Dawkins ends up aligning with Jeff Jarrett. Maybe Dawkins aligns with the Usos. Give me that. Let's let it happen. Let Montez Ford go fly, do his thing, maybe team up with his real-life wife and watch what those two can do for the future. Pat McAfee, my boy. Baron Corbin. Show stealer? Is that what everyone's going to be talking about after? Baron Corbin's been an underrated wrestler in his career. People don't get how good of a heel he is. Baron Corbin versus Pat McAfee. Yeah, might light up the internet. I think McAfee's going to win, but it could be a good one. Same thing with Logan Paul versus The Miz. Say what you want about the Paul brothers, man, but when it comes to business, when it comes to getting a following, and we'll call it reinventing themselves, all those things are true when it comes to the Paul brothers. And what is Logan Paul? Not an actor, not a singer, not an athlete. Is he Miz? Is he the modern day Miz? Somebody who got popular off of non-traditional media companies and now is able to monetize that into a career? Fascinated by it. He looked good at WrestleMania too. So Miz versus Logan Paul. I'm curious how it's going to go down. Ronda Rousey's, by the way, fighting for the title again against Liv Morgan. Is Ronda Rousey just going to get beat clean? Charlotte Flair is too obvious. He's coming out. I said maybe someone's along with Charlotte Flair. Maybe a new faction is formed. Could be that same thing for the Judgment Day. As they battle the Mysterios, and someone joined. There's so many good ways this pay-per-view can go. Saturday, and then the main event. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Last man standing the last time. Well, we'll see about that if it's the last time. It seems too obvious that Roman's going to win and Brock's going to go away, but we've heard that and been down that road before. Is this the first pay-per-view without Vince and stuff get thrown out? Vince McMahon canceled, retired, whatever term you want to use. Let's get fired up for the weekend. At TomGoz, TOMGOZZ on social media. You want to show me some of your thoughts on SummerSlam while the championship semifinal games are going on between Jacksonville and Albany and Columbus and Carolina. You can share that on social media. Come back to the house and watch it after. All right, guys, on the go. Our final one in July. We head into August. We talk more football, more college football, more baseball playoff push. You'll get all of that coming up real soon. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of the month. Talk to you in August.